like try and fight a Threads of Disloyalty war, where they're just gonna cryptic make their guy back, and it's gonna be obnoxious. I just boarded my relics. Like, enjoy your O1.
I liked. I like Threads and Relic. It's a combination to beat the Tarmogoyfs.
Matchup was too good. I didn't have enough cards to board out. Had to go with Rashad's school, three or four.
With the are you doing the mono blue fairies deck?
I was playing Owen's list. It ran Damnation in the sideboard.
Okay. I was playing.
I think it was mono blue. Other than that, if I recall. Or no, actually, I sideboarded Wretched Banquets for the Zoo matchup, which was pretty good.
That actually seems pretty awesome.
It was.
I just played straight mono blue. I played that deck.
It was straight mono blue in the main. Just boarded Wretched Banquet and Damnation. Didn't even board the Bitter Blossoms. We tested the Bitter Blossoms, but the mirror wasn't prominent enough in my area, so just let it ride.
Yeah, I was never a huge fan of the Bitter Blossoms.
They were really only good in the mirror, and there were just other ways to fight the mirror, like Shackles, which is way stronger.
It was also a time period where you had Wild Nicottles being 3/3s on turn 2.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you could ever main Bitter Blossom. I think that was just wrong at all times, pretty much.
Okay, so Gerry sticks a turn 2 counterbalance, which is pretty huge.
Preordain.
Did we see what Gerry revealed?
No, actually, Jerry's deck. Can you have the judge move Jerry's deck a little in from the camera? Oh, haha. That's right, we still have our second monitor. We're just checking. See, but I wouldn't have had to make that request if we didn't have a second monitor. He's brainstorming. Gerry contemplating. Allows.
He's not flipping the top card. It's odd.
Well, I think he has a brainstorm in his own hand, so he doesn't necessarily want to give away the information for a chance at countering a brainstorm. Like, he probably just doesn't think the value that the guy's gaining from thinning his deck. Like, he has no fetch land represented or anything. So
yeah, you're right.
He's really just filtering card quality temporarily.
A card, yeah.
So it's not that bad. Now we're probably gonna go for it, and we whiff. All right. Yep. So at the same time, you might have caught the Nimble Mongoose by not revealing in the former instance. Got Goyf, who is currently a pretty sizable man. Sorcery instant land is what I see.
It's a big Goyf for the stage of the game.
Yeah. He'll hold off the Nimble Mongoose quite handily. Wastelands, gonna take care of one of Gerry's. Yep. Tropical Island hits the bin. No more Goyfs. Gerry's rolling on Counterbalance, Brainstorm, Force of Will, Jace, which seems pretty tough. The counterbalance is obviously just going to be Force of Will food at this point in the game.
And Gerry doesn't know what his top card is, right?
No, he has no idea.
So.
He can use the brainstorm in response, but I think he's waiting to find something that will make it better. Yep, that would be something that will make it better.
Yep.
So successfully He slow rolled that brainstorm for a long time to get a play like this, where he's going to protect a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I think his only 2 is counterbalance, am I right? Yeah. Easy game.
Yeah.
He only
the factory
has
can even now the factory can trade with Mongoose.
Yep.
Even once he threshes up.
He has 2 Smothers and 2 Ghastly Demises as cards that can kill Tarmogoyf plus a Maelstrom Pulse, so that's 1 down. 4 to go, so to speak. Gerry reaching in the hole in his pants. Not really a pocket there.
No pocket there.
Just a hole.
Just literally reaching into the hole in his pants. Maybe something taped to his leg. We don't know.
Oh, he's got that Ghastly Demise. The blind reveal, perhaps? Cracking in response. Oh yeah, that's right. He knows it's the Seat of the Synod on top of the deck. So he's going to crack and get a fresh one. And he might wind up Force of Willing if he can't find a successful one here. He's drawing pretty reasonably at it, I suppose. He's got like
10, I mean, he has a lot of ones.
13, 14. Count 14 ones?
Yeah.
And whiff.
Wow, he's whiffing a lot, man.
Yep. And force successful. He can pay for a daze. The only real thing he has to worry about is a force back, but not happening. His opponent's riding Brainstorm and lands. His opponent might have wanted to make his Brainstorm play first here, actually, I think. He's clearly going to shuffle away those lands, so you might want to just get more information before you decide how you're going to try and kill that Goyf, whether you want it to be now or on the opponent's turn.
Makes sense.
Try and more efficiently manage your resources. I guess while you know that there's a seat, you know that Gerry... Actually, no, I think that's even worse if you know that Gerry knows his top card. You would want to wait until it's actually just a full blank. Like, he doesn't know it's a Seat of the Synod, only Gerry knew that. But he's going to wait on his Brainstorm. And this is going to be a big moment because no, he's going to Brainstorm in response here. Yeah. Oh, he's the daze.
Ooh, I did not know.
I guess that was a daze, not a Brainstorm.
Ooh, boom. Daze countered.
Our bad. Guess he's on land daze.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was a Brainstorm. So we were sitting here, like, talking about why he didn't cast it.
Can only do so much, sadly.
It's easy to confuse the Mercadian art.
Well, this area is actually really shady. I've noticed, like, not in terms of suspicious natures, but
yes.
The whole room is actually rather dark.
Dim, yes.
But Jace is definitely going to be a problem in this one. He has a Force of Will now, but can't cast it and has no blue card. Awkward spot. Pass, yeah.
Can I fight you for a bit? Or do you want to eat now? Or?
You can go, it's fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's easier for me to tag out than you, so. Yeah, sure. All right. Jacob's going to go have some lunch. Adrian's joining us.
Lunch is good. So, from where I'm sitting, looks like kind of threshold, maybe, versus...
Yeah, it's like a bug threshold deck. We have the list here. And so far, Gerry's been able to keep his Tarmogoyf alive long enough to stay alive. And now that he has a second one and a Jace, it looks like it's all over, pretty much.
To stay alive, he's at 17. What happened so
well,
far?
He had 2 Mongoose out the whole time. So if the Tarmogoyf died at any point,
gotcha.
It was going to be a really rapid clock.
Gotcha, I understand now.
Yeah. So...
Okay. Things look pretty good right now.
Yeah, I don't see Gerry losing this game unless something goes horribly awry.
Particularly, is this game, game 1?
He has no real way to get rid of the Jace.
One Maelstrom Pulse.
One Maelstrom Pulse.
And Gerry does have some 3s. In fact, 5 3s.
I think the Fate Seal is really just probably going to be enough to get it done here if he chooses to go that route. He has an Engineer Explosives in his deck that he can Trinket Mage for also, which will clear out the Mongoose. So that may be the plan he's currently on. Just brainstorm his way to a Trinket Mage.
If you look at the Tarmogoyf in play, his opponent has ways to destroy the Tarmogoyfs, but only 4 of them. And
He's
so
already
basically...
used 2. Yeah.
Oh,
Mother and Ghastly Demise are both gone.
This is all over but the crying. Game 2. Carson Grip is probably a card that we're going to see coming in. Probably Engineered Explosives. And then the question of Mind Harness.
I'm not sure about Mind Harness. I think Pithing Needle.
The reason I bring up Mind Harness is just the question of it.
Yeah, sure.
Because if he sees these Tarmogoyfs, he can think to himself one of 2 things. Either Tarmogoyf is the only creature of note, or he can think maybe Gerry's sandbagging. But if he knows Gerry, it's more reasonable to expect that Gerry is running kind of a next level blue style deck, which is going to hold back and be more controlling.
If you've seen Gerry's deck list, he rarely runs more than just a few creatures to complement Tarmogoyfs, and they're generally the Trinket Mage or Vendilion Click, not Rock Swarmonks.
Right,
So,
exactly.
I agree with that. Gerry's not likely to get a Mind Harness boarded in against him here. Although his opponent could come to the conclusion. It's possible. People don't always, agree on what matters in a matchup. Sometimes people decide that, winning a Tarmogoyf fight is how you're going to win. And I don't think that's right, but that could be a thought process that he pursues.
And definitely one of the real issues when it comes to deciding about, let's pretend you go that mind harness route. What if they don't have it? What if they don't have the goif to steal, and instead they're playing the control role?
I mean, I guess you have a blue card then.
Yeah. You can force of will it.
Exactly.
Right? So,
that's its maximum utility. Oh, Fire Spout. That will take care of those nimble mongoose. Not so nimble anymore.
force of will.
Gerry has...
Does Gerry even care if he fights over it?
I mean, he knows his top 2, so... he can force it. The thing is, like, what can his opponent do to actually punish this play, you know? Yeah, Gerry's like, what can he do? Like, what card in Magic could he draw right now that Gerry would actually be pretty sad about? He only had 3 mana open. Force will cost 5. Oh, Ryan? Yeah, he did. I don't know if he... Oh, I guess he did.
Playing around days, perhaps?
Maybe. But it definitely didn't matter in that game.
I mean, one of the things that is really common is that when you see Tarmogoyf in a blue deck, it's commonly paired with Daze. Not always, but it's fairly common.
I think people believe Daze is there a lot more often than it actually is.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
As someone who examines deck lists, like, Daze is not that common, but people play around it constantly. So that makes it a lot of value to be not playing Daze.
Well, you know, there's this just the feeling from an emotional standpoint when you're playing. When the Daze gets you, it feels really bad, and
yeah,
sometimes you overlearn your lesson. You know,
I agree. It's definitely the sort of card people don't want to get beaten by, but a lot of times those are the cards you just need to decide don't matter, you know? Or that they don't have.
Now, if Ryan believes that Gerry's deck is low on threats, I actually think it's totally reasonable to bring in Extirpate as well. I know that in my experience playing against Sam Black with this, basically a deck very much like what Gerry's playing, that if you can kill that goif by extirpating it, there's just so little left.
Yeah. In Gerry's list, he'd be relying a lot on Mishra's Factory and Jace basically to close it out, plus the Trinket Mages, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not a very good clock. And then
he's probably bringing in Sowers, to be fair, actually.
That's absolutely fair. That Sower versus Nimble
but
Mongoose.
He doesn't know that he has that. Well, I mean, his opponent has Goif and Confidants.
I mean, I think
he knows he has Goif.
I think you're definitely bringing in, or leaving in your Smother and Ghastly Demise. And, you know, so...
It's actually a shame you don't have access to more.
Adding in the Engineered Explosives, I mean... After board, these decks actually can look basically fairly similar, except for where Gerry has Counterbalance Top, Ryan has Bob.
Yeah, I agree that's the primary difference. I'd say Ryan's in trouble, though.
Oh, definitely.
Really, his threats are just not well suited to Gerry's suite of removal. Like, Gerry's well equipped to beat a Nimble Mongoose, and that's the kind of card you only play because you want opponents who aren't well equipped to beat it.
Absolutely. I mean, he's playing main deck Fire Spout, and he's got the 4th Fire Spout in the board.
And the explosives. Like, it's all bad news. Now, you saw that game. He drew two Nimble Mongoose. They were functionally blanks because he couldn't get his removal spells to resolve.
Or you could think about it, his 2 Nimble Mongooses were keeping the Tarmogoyf at bay. They were holding
Not
the
for
fort.
long.
They were holding the fort,
That's right. He was really just on the defensive. From every angle. Less cards, less permanents, less threats, less resources. I think we have 9.
Wow.
But I'm not sure. 8 or 9.
If you can hear the murmuring in the background, that is the sound of the second draft challenge getting started. The top 8 of the draft challenge from this morning is going to be drafting simultaneously with the second draft, and so that should be exciting. I noticed that where I had thought that Sam might have gone and left, apparently Sam and the other Madison guys, they just decided to do drafts instead of doing...
I talked to Ben Stark, and he said that they wanted to draft to test for the Pro Tour rather than play Legacy, even though it's a better value. They want to get the experience with Mirror and Besiege, which is hard to find right now.
2 of those Madison guys are in the top 8 of that first draft.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, we've got the game started. We've got a Tundra Sensei's Divining top facing off against looked like a set of Days that stopped the top. And then a Wasteland cracks the Tundra. So there's that Days on Ryan Carson's side. Attempt at Relic of Progenitus. A good way to make Nimble Mongoose not very exciting. Another Wasteland. And the Relic of Progenitus starts marching away. Okay. So the initial turns of the game basically all amount with Gerry at 1 land.
Gerry running his relics, which I theorized he might do, in order to shrink Tarmogoyfs and Nimble Mongoose and just buy a lot of time.
I think he's going to crack that relic just looking for a land.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened in this game,
Yeah.
but
No Stifle.
I think it's a good board card for that reason.
He doesn't get punished for the possibility of a Stifle, which is, you know, basically what this Nimble Mongoose deck kind of wants to be doing, is doing the Stifle Wasteland as its means of making the game really punishing for the opponent.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And it did indeed get him into a land, just like he was hoping for.
How lucky.
And now Brainstorm during the main
that
phase.
one might not be so easy. Oh.
There's the other land.
Wow. Fighting over that might have been profitable for Ryan to do here.
He might not have the tools to fight over it properly. I mean Force of Will on that card seems like it would be
I agree, Force might be loose. I mean, you actually get a reasonable amount of value just from dazing it by making him crack the land.
I mean, if we look at it, Force of Will is too much. The Daze does a little bit, but is also just a -1 on the card advantage for result to get a little bit. You know, Stifle doesn't touch it. Spell Snare doesn't
your
stop it.
opponent's gaining, like almost gaining 2 cards by filtering away the ones he doesn't need in this spot. I think you might actually be breaking ahead with a Daze, as unusual as it might be.
Well, in the effects, yeah, in the effects side. At least in the now. I think, though, over time, that catches back up.
As a general rule.
Well, no, over time that catches back up, because the cards at this point, he's boarded, he's sideboarded, so he has the cards he wants.
Okay, that might be reasonable.
If
I feel like a game where Gerry stumbles is the game where he's most likely to win.
Right.
Is another problem. He might just want to be gambling on Gerry getting hosed in certain
That's
spots.
absolutely fair. Okay. Just being a little quiet here while the judges make their announcement, just slightly off camera. Counterbalance facing down Dark Confidant.
It's always awkward as to whether you counter this card because, you know, if they don't have the top or whatever, it's not that strong, but it's really risky to wait for the top because you might not be well equipped to fight at that point.
Well, just the incidental possibility of it hitting stuff out can be so problematic.
Wasteland disrupting him a little.
Yep.
With the Scalding Tarn, it's not that bad. You can quickly replace whatever he loses.
Just having another turn with Bob fighting into very little mana is just huge. At this point, Gerry needs to get something going really quickly or that Bob is going to bury him. Another sacrifice land there, a fetch ready to get him back up to that 3. His opponent looks like he has a smother and maybe a 2 land, and
He definitely has a smother. I saw him with that before.
Can't quite tell. Meanwhile, Gerry has a pretty full hand, but it's largely because he's been choked off most of this game.
Yeah.
Tarmogoyf. Second attempt at counterbalance. This one resolves. Gerry now has a tundra, a volcanic island, a scalding tarns, and a counterbalance. Is that a maelstrom pulse? Like a?
He has 1 pulse in his deck.
But what is that?
Yeah, that's the GP promo Maelstrom Pulse.
Ah, okay. I didn't recognize it. So that's the GP promo Maelstrom Pulse. The fetch land from Mr. Thompson gets a stifle. There is a counterbalance. Trigger successfully counters the stifle. Blind. And then we're going to see a shuffle on whether he can blind counter the counterbalance.
That would be most.
Oh, he's got a brainstorm, so it's not going to be a blind counter.
Oh, yeah.
He can put back any 3, and I think I see a fire spout in his hand.
Yep, that'll do.
So in the 2 triggers that the counterbalance has faced, it has countered both of them.
13? Yep, 13, I got... Yeah, I do have 15 on my sheet. That was a bob, and I will pass turn.
And here Gerry has a Jace. Bounces the Bob. That's a very commanding presence to be in, particularly if there's a 2 on top of his library. Ryan drops a card. No big deal.
Awkward. Well, now that we have a Jason play, we're looking a lot better than we were before.
Okay. Preordain. Selecting a force of will for Ryan. Is that another Maelstrom Pulse?
Crows and Grip.
Oh,
He only has
Grip.
1
There we
Maelstrom
go.
Pulse, yeah.
And
Crows and Grip will do the trick.
Gerry knows what's on top of his library,
Yeah, so he
doesn't bother to show.
Yeah. Still rolling on a Jace. Ain't no thing. With the Pulse Con, he can play 2 Tarmogoyfs even. Although he might actually be more likely to fear Pulses, now that he's seen one. He doesn't know that Ryan only has 1.
Yeah. Further, with only 1 green mana, he has to slow it up anyway.
Sure.
Okay.
This is
So
just
she's
such a good
Smother,
spot to get aggressive
Tarmogoyf,
if you can do it.
Dark Confidant, and Force of Will.
And
Leads
Spell
out
Snare
with
and
Smother.
Brainstorm, this isn't going to happen. The only question is which. Spell Snare.
There we go.
I agree with that one. Want to fight about it?
Nope.
Nope, he does not. All
Next
right.
is going to come Bob, I think.
I think he really needs a Bob in play in order to...
Tarmogoyf is fine too. Both of them make the...
Against Jace.
Well, actually, Jace
Yeah,
does not have to bounce that. He wanted to lay the Bob there. He wanted to wind that Jace down. Because Jace and Bob are pretty good at keeping up with each other.
I agree. And with Gerry having all these ghosts, actually, it's Ugh.
And now laying that Tarmogoyf also kind of signals that there's not a Maelstrom Pulse to worry about, or if
Right.
you do lay it, you're still getting a 2 for 2.
Yep. I think he may have incidentally given Gerry a coast clear on that,
Yeah, I
where
agree.
he might not have wanted to. Yep, Jerry's gonna Fate Seal, get that Tarmogoyf safe. Sower Temptation.
Monster. What does that do? Oh, God.
The humanity.
Minutes land sorcery. Yeah, sounds good. Your turn.
What's his life? He's at 11,
Yep, I see another Smother.
so he's
Smother will not touch
pretty
that
close
Sower.
to dangerous here.
Yep. Brainstorm, Force of Will, Tarmogoyf, and Jerry's hand.
That Force of Will all by itself seems almost enough, but the Brainstorm is icing on the cake.
Smother on the Goyf. Want to kill your own, he says? No thanks.
If you're sure.
Here comes Bob.
Too little, too late, I fear.
Yeah, I mean,
At this
between
point, he's almost more of a liability than anything else. He has to chump.
gets bounced by the Jace. In comes Sower Tarmogoyf, taking a big plug out of the life total.
Oops. Well, that's it, yeah.
Ryan knows that it's done, so offers up the hand.
Yeah, I think Gerry